Hello, welcome back. We're going to have a break from bashing big lumps of metal now. We're going to start doing some of the sheet metal work just for a change. There's many ways of actually working with the material that we're going to use, either brass or nickel silver. Many ways of cutting it and many ways of shaping it. First material to consider is brass. This is some 20 thou brass sheet, traditionally used for locomotives over the years. It does have a habit of tarnishing, and it also conducts heat quite quickly, so you tend to find you're warming up a large area around where you're working when you're soldering. The preferred material, I think, is nickel silver, or German silver as it's sometimes known. This doesn't tarnish as much as brass. It conducts heat a lot less slowly, so the heat when you're soldering stays put, doesn't spread out to the rest of the model. It also protects paint very well, whereas brass tends to have a habit of need to be etched before you paint it. Nickel silver just uses standard primer. The other thing with metal is never throw anything away. These are all offcuts from my modelling days in O gauge, gauge 1 and gauge 3, and it's left me with lots of useful little bits which are coming in very handy. Now I've gone down to Z gauge. You can use traditional tin snips. These are okay, but they tend to leave a burr. They also do tend to curve the metal. A jeweller's piercing saw with a very fine blade, available with a variety of different teeth spacings depending on the material you're cutting, is very useful. It's also very useful for cutting holes. Cut, very rare to find these days. Designed as a laminate cutter for Formica, it uses a single jaw and 2 anvil jaws, and means that you can cut very thin material without distorting it. You can also cut quite large radius curves, and it doesn't distort the metal. You can also use the ubiquitous mini drill with a carbide cutting wheel in. The trouble with this is you tend to wear through the wheels quite quickly. They're cheap enough from sort of do-it-yourself stores and supermarkets now, everybody seems to be selling them, but you do tend to get through a lot of cutting discs. The first thing we'll do is we'll sweat 2 pieces of nickel silver together, just using solder paste, fairly low melting point stuff, and just using a big iron to sweat them together. If you're cutting them out, you might as well cut 2 out together, that way you'll end up with them both identical. Once we've got the 2 pieces of nickel silver sweated together, we're going to clean one edge up so that it's perfectly straight, and that'll be the datum line for all the marking off. And at one end we'll do it at 90 degrees to that datum line using the engineer's square, because that's going to form the front corner, the front side in effect of the cab sides. The thing with working with sheet metal is to cut away from the line that you actually want to finish up with, and then gently go up to the line, either with using the belt sander which we were looking at before, or by gently filing, or again by using something in your mini drill. The essentials for marking out are an engineer's square, a small one in good condition, a pair of dividers with sharp points, and most usefully of all, a pair of odd leg calipers. These have a lip on one side and a scribing end on the other, and from this you can work off one straight edge of your metal to do lines parallel to your main datum line. You can use a variety of needle files, square ones, triangular ones, round ones, and flat warding ones for doing straight lines. So at the end of all that, we've got two Berkshire cab sides, still sweated together with solder, which will break apart shortly with a bit of heat, ready for starting to assemble the cab.